We do have a smartphone app. If you're on iPhone or Android, you can get the 1 Million Cups app. And it's a great way to interact with other people that are here. You can leave feedback from the presenters. You can click straight to their websites and social media handles from there. You can also see a list of names of who else was here today. Use that as a way to follow up and connect with folks who you met. Because that's really what we love to see here is that anytime we have new faces here, we know that's another person that can now more easily get plugged into the local entrepreneurial community here in Dallas. Again, these were our presenters. And again, a shout out to all the sponsors that I mentioned earlier. I think I left out Michael K. Brenner Productions. So shout out to Michael and his company for doing all the video and photography for this event. If you're looking for someone awesome to do that for you, for your company, for your event, please check them out. And yes, of course, the deck, which is where we're at right now, the Dallas Entrepreneur Center. They've been really gracious with providing us with the venue, and after 1 Million Cups every Wednesday, they offer free co-working in the tables there towards the back of the room. So you're welcome to bring your laptop here on Wednesdays, hang out and co-work for free, and continue the conversations after 1 Million Cups. Okay, without further ado, we will bring up Sean Usman from Jollitot, and we'll all stand up, give him a big round of applause, and welcome him on stage.
Can you change your mind?
All right, thank you for being here today. I'm happy and glad to be here. My name is Sean Usman. I'm with Jollitot. I'm with Jollitot, and I'm glad to be here to explain what my company does and how we're doing it. What we're doing is basically building a new smart connected nursery. So we're a tech-based baby products company. The tech side, we're in the AI, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things market space. And what we're doing is basically help bridge the gap between parents and children and their child. What I mean by gap is just a quick raise of hands. Have you ever heard of a baby cry? I'm sure everybody has. So what the problem is that the baby, the only means of communication a baby has is crying. And as a parent, you kind of have to try to figure out what their problem is just by their crying. So parents usually go down their mental checklist of, is the baby's diaper good? All right, check. Is the baby sleepy? Is the baby hungry? So they go through this whole checklist trying to figure out why the baby's crying. And that could be a problem. For instance, a parent may find their baby crying and pick them up and think that they just need to be soothed. So they're rocking the baby in their arm, the baby calms down, falls asleep. Problem solved. But actually what happened is the baby was actually hungry and just loved, like this instance of being soothed in the arm, and fell asleep. So you have this problem, this breakdown in communication between the two. So this is me. About 2 years ago, I became a first-time dad and had no clue what I was doing. That's my son, Evan, and don't be fooled by the cute pictures. He was a fussy, kind of colicky baby. And what happened was he was an underweight baby, and what we come to find out was the pediatrician started actually classified him as failure to thrive, even though me and my wife did our best to try to help him. See, at the time, my wife was breastfeeding Evan, and we didn't find out till later that she just wasn't producing enough milk. And that was okay, just through all the stress and struggle through the months of research finding that out. And it shouldn't have been like that. So these are some recent shocking news headlines of parents who accidentally starved their child and didn't even know it. So we've done kind of an extensive research on the customers and things like that, and we've discovered 4 key areas that the parents wanted solutions to. So they wanted to be able to easily track their baby's daily activities, their diet, things of that nature, so that they can be able to make healthy choices. They also wanted to keep track of their baby's milestones in their development. And also they wanted to be connected to a strong group of other experienced mothers and friends they can reach out to for support and just answering questions that you have as a first-time parent. And also they wanted to be able to reach their baby's milestones and developmental and through not having stress and pain and struggles trying to do it. So we provided a solution. We called it Thrive Baby. So what Thrive Baby does, it's a way parents can track, monitor, and get insights into their baby's daily activities, their health, their nutrition, development, sleep. Sleep is a big thing. And we also create and foster that support group of experienced parents they can go and reach out to. So these are the 4 key areas that parents access the most through our app. Ways to track their sleep, ways to track their diaper changes, things, how many diapers are they changing, especially early on. They're changing 10, 15 diapers a day. So this allows you to track it, see any differences from one diaper to the other. Feeding was very important to be able to track their calorie intakes, their nutrition, how much vitamin D are they taking throughout the day, their daily activities like tummy time, how much time they're spending doing that, and weight. In addition to this, we have ways of tracking the baby's temperature. So if the baby has a fever, pediatrician usually says to track their temperature every 2 hours. We have that. Breastfeeding, being able to calculate data of how much breast milk you're pumping, things of that nature. So our app is free to download and use, but for those parents who want a greater experience and more in-depth, we have our Go Premium. That's at $49.99 per year, or you can go month by month for $9.99. This allows, for instance, ways to export your data and have that communication with your pediatrician. These are kind of the roadmap, the milestones we set for our development. We have the Thrive Baby app, our weight sensing technology that's supposed to be in our smart connected nursery. And this is kind of the market space. So a lot of people say the best place to be is where babies are being born or dying market. So we're kind of in the baby market, happy market, and it's steadily growing. Our core consumers are millennial mothers who contribute 82% of all the births each year. And it's a big market money play. And one of the things, the free app, we have our ad revenue. That's how we do some of the revenue on the free app side. This is me and my wife. These are my team members, some of my advisors, and thank you very much. I guess we're open for questions.
So before we go to the topic, so the first question is always what can we as a community do for you?
So what I'm looking for is people who are open to opening their networks to people. So if you see something that is of interest to you or know of anybody in your networks that would be of interest in what we're doing, our technology, I would love to get in touch with you. That's what I'm here for, is networking, getting in touch with people who can make things happen.
How's it going? Great pitch. Love the idea. I have a 2-year-old, so I'm going to be one of your first users. My question really is about kind of what stage you guys are in right now. I mean, it said something about summer, launching the app. So what stage are you in? I mean, obviously you're looking for partnerships, affiliations, kind of thing. Are you thinking about like multi-channel distribution or just straight to market? What's your approach there?
So we're currently actually developing the app right now. So I've got a team of iOS developers, and I've got a computer science guy that's doing a lot of the algorithms and machine learning aspects of it. So we've got probably another month of development before we actually physically launch. So the summer is what I've kind of placed a time frame last year, but I think we'll be able to get to the market a lot quicker. And so yeah, so we're at that point as far as the physical hardware pieces. We're still developing that. I've got industrial designers and engineers building that product out. We should have that launched sometime in maybe the end of summer, and that's when we're going to do our Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign with that product. So our own physical product, as far as the soon-to-be baby swing, that's one of our first big launches, the first flagship product. We're looking at early 2019 for that. So.
Very cool idea. As a mother of two, been there, done that, and it is quite stressful in the moment. So I think it's absolutely great that you can log it specifically on your phone. It's always with you, which is terrific. I wonder if there's a way to also have your pediatrician either provide input as you're tracking. I know that one of the tools is being able to print out your log of everything that you're jotting down, whether it's a diaper change or how they're eating or what you're pumping. But along the way, I wonder if there's a way to kind of integrate feedback from your pediatrician, because one thing is logging it, the other is, am I on track?
So yeah, that's a great question. We actually have that in our goal. One of the things that we want to do is help bridge the dialogue between the parent and the pediatrician. One example is your leg hurts and you're at home and it hurts at home. As soon as you go to the doctor, your leg doesn't hurt, but you're having to explain it to them and they kind of shoo you off. That's exactly kind of the response we got back from our pediatrician. Oh, it's not a problem, just figure it out. So what we're trying to do is be able to catalog or track a lot of this stuff, and the parent getting insights and being able to download that for the pediatrician in a form that he can quickly look at different things that are happening with sleep and all that, and can look at all these different things and come with certain things that may, problems that he can see coming up, or even diagnose things that that he sees in that kind. So we have that export capability of having him to bridge that dialogue between you and the pediatrician. So, thank you.
You have a lot of competitors. There are a lot of similar apps out there. What makes you different from those competitors? And can you talk a little bit more about all the products, the product line that you're talking about, the Internet of Things, and how that sort of folds into the app?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yes, they are competitors. They are people that do specific aspects. For example, the weight. You can find an app that you can input the weight, it'll put it in a database, and you can kind of pull it out. Where we're going to disrupt the juvenile baby products market is we actually make sense of that data. So we use a lot of AI technology. We use a lot of algorithms to make sense of the data and provide that insight to the parent. For example, looking at not only the weight, looking at what intake nutrition, like foods they're taking in, and looking at their diaper changes and making sense of all this information and data in a form that we can actually provide insights and predictions of things that are happening, not only as an individual user, but as an aggregated data from a whole population of things. So for instance, maybe we can see trends of, hey, your baby's not getting enough vitamin D or calcium or things of that nature. We can see that from the nutritional input we're getting. We can provide recommendations and say, hey, there's this product from Gerber that's fortified with calcium that we noticed that you're not providing to your baby, and here's a coupon for 75 cents off this product. So that's kind of the value we're giving, is not only just a data input, data output, it's more of that insight that we can provide. As far as the IoT products, so we've got a product called the Soothe Me Baby, the Smart Connect Baby Swing. That will actually, it's not just the baby swing, there's patented technology we have and just the functionality, but the smart aspect is that it allows you to weigh your baby. So now you can go and place your baby on this baby swing, get the weight easy, and it connects to your app. So a lot of the manual inputs that you're putting into our first launch of the Thrive Baby app, we're gonna automate that. So we'll have baby products like the AccuTemp Instant Baby Thermometer. These are things that gather data about the user and the environment they are in their smart connected nursery, and we're getting the data and making sense of the environment that they're in. So,
I really like your app. I think it can definitely be useful for parents. I've done a lot of work with parents and children, applied behavior analysis, mainly with kids with autism, with communication skills, also foster parents of 5 kids as well. So I definitely think in that first scenario you painted up there, I think the crux of the issue is that parents are having difficulty understanding the function of the child's crying behavior or what it's meant to get. And so I'm interested if you could kind of revisit that scenario and kind of lay out a little bit more of how specifically the app would actually help parents understand that more. Like, would they be pulling out the app in the moment and like reading the data? And the other question I have is, in my experience working in homes with parents and kids and trying to take data and track, is that oftentimes parents are so busy that we have found that sometimes parents have difficulty adhering to tracking all these things and actually taking the data. Thanks.
yeah, that's good insight. So I agree. A lot of the input, especially early on, will be difficult for a large mass majority of our consumers. The early adopters that have this problem and pain, that are looking for that solution to solve their immediate problem, I don't believe from my research that they would have difficulties doing that. And as we start developing the Smart Connected Nursery, a lot of that stuff we're trying to automate just with physical hardware pieces that are smart, have sensors, and being able to connect to our app and provide that kind of insight. So some of the other cool stuff that we're looking into is we've got research. There's research being done on trying to analyze different baby cries and being able to understand through the trends of this specific baby cry, it means this specific thing. Like my computer science guy, he specializes in natural language processing, so that's kind of like the Google Home. You'll be able to talk to it and it understands what you're saying. We're looking at trying to bridge that technology with baby cries and have that really deep connection on, hey, this cry means that they're hungry. This cry from a 95% accuracy believe that his diaper's dirty. So that's kind of the vision that we're trying to get into. And also into kind of speech, fine, and motor skills development. So you're thinking of toys and puzzles a baby's playing with, and from that collecting data about how they're interacting with it and at what development stage they are. So at a 3-month stage, they should be having these type of skill sets. And if they're not, we provide recommendations to say, hey, spend an extra 30 minutes on this activity to get them back up to where they need to be. So we're trying to be more of not only a reactive, but more of a proactive approach in the development of your child. So.
Hey there, I'm Michael. Good job on your presentation. You do a nice job
Thank you.
pitching and telling the story, and your Q&A is good. So I agree. I think that user adoption and how that, what you're just addressing is super important, because it's already insane being a parent, especially first-time parent. So I've been through that mill 4 times, and so one critique I want to have on one of your slides, pretty early when you were, and I get selling a little bit of fear. I would recommend you change that slide about the mom who's concerned that breastfeeding killed her kid, because what any parent here knows, we all know now, is breastfeeding is one of the best things you can do for your kids. So I don't think you want your store giving the message that breastfeeding is a problem. So just personal critique on that.
No, good insight.
It's
So,
well borne out, in terms of the positive impact. So just one thing I noticed, and your images matter. So just my personal point of view on that.
no, thank you.
Hi there. You have an annual subscription and a monthly subscription kind of revenue structure. I wonder, how long do you anticipate somebody using the app? Because after your baby's walking, you're probably not as concerned about checking the diapers or laying them in a swing. My kids didn't even like the swing, so we bought it and wasted all that money. They wouldn't sit in it, so that product was kind of a waste on us. How do you see people kind of recurringly purchasing your access to the app?
So I looked at it more of a historical kind of record of your baby and child. So we have inputs for your vaccine records. We've got inputs for medication and how much you're dispensing and things of that nature. So what I'm trying to do is have a catalog from the day that they're born to whatever age as they're growing through toddler age and things of that nature, that you've got all this information about where they're at and are they at the right level that they're developing both physically and kind of mentally at the right level that they're supposed to be. So yeah, like I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's times where people will drop off and say, I don't need this product anymore. But as we're building, the vision of it is to have you catalog all these different things and have that readily available to you whenever you need it. So I hope that answers your questions.
So it's time for one last question.
Hi, so I am working in the same kind of areas he is with behavior analysis and also having worked in natural language processing. When he mentioned the kind of question about how do you get the market to continue using your product past a certain age where they're not really measuring how much food is going into your child or coming out, I think your option there, one of them, is to really start looking at the language. Developmentally, that's a huge sign of whether someone's going to end up with a diagnosis of autism or some other really severe developmental issues. So I would recommend getting someone to consult with you in that area to basically build up what you're looking at. So people will stop looking at the app when it's really too late. But if they're looking at the larger developmental curve for language, that's going to have a lot of relevance to autism and other issues that will keep your population using the app longer.
Thank you very much.
Let's give a round, big round of applause.
So yeah, if it's your first time here, you see so much value comes out of the Q&A. It's a really kind of rare opportunity to ask some personal business questions and really discuss what it took to start up some of these companies. Plus, you probably learned more about breastfeeding than you thought you were going to learn this Wednesday morning, which is great. Okay, so I do have a good announcement about coffee. It is here. Thank you to driveas.com and Serious Coffee. Let's give them a quick hand. And really to everyone who makes it here on Wednesday morning, whatever it took for you guys to get here, pat yourselves on the back for making it out here. Appreciate it. Again, these are all of our sponsors. Again, Michael Brunner, Productions with the video, the deck here where we're for the venue. High Brew Coffee is also set up now right there in the back. I'm going to grab cold coffee. They've got those in the cans. And Curti, which will hopefully be here starting again in February. So yeah, that's a little quick announcements. And yeah, you guys are welcome to, if you want to grab coffee, if you're wanting to do that, feel free to get up and do that real quick because I know it came late. And then we'll start getting the next presenter set up on stage while you guys are doing that. So yeah, we'll have Bridget with Cause Studio up here next in just a few minutes.
We ran out of luck. There is no question that nonprofits are important to the North Texas community. They fill in the gaps created by for-profit and government sectors and promote community development. You're aware that they're important. But are you aware of the biggest issues? 83% of the estimated 30,000 nonprofits in North Texas have operating budgets of under $100,000. This isn't because we've seen a recent influx of nonprofits. The sector has largely remained at 2% of the nation's GDP since 1971. So what is the growth? One of the biggest issues nonprofits face is the emphasis of program over administration, helped along by negative donor attitude toward funding and overhead. Cause Studio aims to change that. I'm Bridget Landis, the lead on this solution. We're a nonprofit initiative founded in January 2015 that through a structured training ecosystem aims to reduce the number of failing startup nonprofit organizations by providing resources, training, and tools to the organizations. We've launched 2 programs to date. Our first is Portfolio, a 3-year incubator program that gives nonprofits a more hands-on training to improve organizational capacity. Our second is Canvas, a community-based workshop series that provides a quicker, more affordable way for nonprofit professionals to receive training. I'm excited to share with you guys today our third and newest initiative that I'm going to be presenting about today. We plan to pilot it this fall. Commission is a nonprofit capacity building fellowship that will connect skilled graduate and recently graduated students with startup nonprofits that can demonstrate a need. Commission focuses on building the future of the nonprofit sector by both, 1, changing the rhetoric surrounding donations made to administrative capacity, and 2, funneling a talent pipeline directly into the nonprofit workforce. This program will work in 2 ways. It'll provide needed administrative growth to the organizations while also providing training to the future sector of nonprofit professionals. We have 2 target markets. For the organizations that are looking for an operating budget of under $100,000 or under 5 years of age and able to demonstrate a need. In addition to the general nonprofit community, we're actually looking to have this program as an added incentive for incubator graduates to kind of help them focus on a strong foundation instead of just programming. For the fellows, we know it's rare that recent grads will immediately take their talents into the nonprofit sector on their own, right? So we are focusing specifically, Commission, on creating a talent pipeline, fostering it that we can funnel it directly into the nonprofit sector for these fellows who will be either passionate about local community and local development with a specific intention to recruit those from economically disenfranchised communities or those who are first-generation college grads. Cause Studio and Commission specifically are unique. We're filling in a gap in North Texas that does not exist. And specifically, we focus on startup nonprofits. Fellowships around the country that focus on social good have target markets expanded to both for-profit and nonprofit sectors. We need to focus on nonprofits because that is what is getting left behind. We have a lean team led by Kimberly O'Neill, an award-winning executive leadership expert. I'm Bridget Landis, an AmeriCorps Vista member and program coordinator for a commission, and I'm a recent UNT grad and Phase 1 fellow technically. We've also been aided by several partners, and we're we're grateful for the help of One Star Foundation specifically. We're also fiscally sponsored by FJC and have been given invaluable help from UTD's ProConnect, a graduate accounting team, and UT's LEAP program. We're also grateful for the help of our skilled Tapper Pro Bono consultants. Our UT LEAP program actually helped us by conducting a feasibility study, and the results were presented to a panel, which garnered a monetary reward. We've also recently recruited a highly experienced steering committee to help us with different perspectives that we can get feedback on the program specifically. It's going to help us build a program framework. Additionally, I'm in the process of publishing an opinion piece about the needs and the community development power of the nonprofit sector. The Commission's budget for the 2017-2018 fiscal year is about $52,000, and we estimate that the pilot year is going to be about twice that amount. Our biggest cost, of course, will be fellow stipends and staff salaries, followed by computers and curriculum development. We're also grateful for the help of UT's ProConnect graduate accounting team for helping us with 3-year budget projections and a financial sustainability audit. Cost Studio is now looking for your help. We need connections to local universities and potential funding partners who are interested in our mission. We're also looking to build a scaled network of volunteers for our curriculum development. We also ask that you spread the word. We need to change the way we talk about nonprofits, and we're going to start in our own backyard, right here in North Texas. I appreciate your time, and would love to answer your questions. Oh, sure, yeah.
That was pretty cool. I know you already mentioned it a little bit, but what can we as a community do for you? That's the first question.
Yeah. So we want you to spread the word about Cause Studio. We're not just a program to change the nonprofit community. We want to make sure that this is going to be a movement to change the rhetoric the way we talk about nonprofits, administrative capacity, right? Specifically with programming, we want to see funding go to community development, right? We don't think about the business aspect of the nonprofit. We want to change the way that's not about. So providing referrals, we're also looking for volunteers with curriculum development, specifically for leadership development training for the fellows that we plan to pilot this fall. So those are a couple of different things, but if you have anything else in mind, I'd love to speak with you.
Hey, Bridget, good job.
Hi.
Yeah, I think your target market in Dallas, or North Texas, is a huge, there's a bazillion nonprofits on 100K. So the good news is, you only get a addressable market issue. The question will be with all the small nonprofits, they're all, got their hair on fire all the time, the way they operate. And so you had a couple of foundation references in there, but would you talk a little about what you're thinking about Communities Foundation, Lyda Hill Foundation, Dallas Foundation, United Way, who are experts in all these nonprofits, small and large, to help get you in the right place efficiently, because it's a really nutty market around here in the nonprofit space.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're taking initiative on is to build a steering committee. I mentioned briefly, of course, in the presentation, but it's a steering committee full of different nonprofit and for-profit instructional design, these experts that can give us different perspectives on how we should be building this program, right? They've been in the area for such a long time. They know North Texas and they know it's going to work. We're also looking to get funded partially by AmeriCorps Vista. So I talked a little bit about the fact that I'm AmeriCorps Vista. Could you go to, slide, it's a little bit past that one. This one. Yes, so we want program experts, but I'm technically phase 1 of what we are trying to build here. This one after that. This works so much better with the clicker, I'm sure. So phase 1 is our framework here, right? I'm phase 1 fellow, and I'm building the framework of this program. So we are using the steering committee to kind of help us build that framework. And the fact that I am phase 1 fellow, I have never been in the entrepreneurship business community. My background's in anthropology and English, so my skills are in qualitative research. And that's kind of what I brought to the table, was communication skills, writing communication skills and that qualitative research. So being able to talk to people, that's what a lot of our research has been. We're also, for phase 2 is what I'm talking about specifically with a pilot year. So we're looking to recruit about 3 fellows that will help us with 2 different organizations throughout this next year. And then we hope through that testing phase that we're going to be developing this next year to launch our full program for phase 3. So that will be about 9 fellows and 3 organizations. We're also, besides the steering committee, the AmeriCorps is to look at their benefits. It'll help them, the students I talked about economically disenfranchised communities and those who are first generation college grads. We all know that they're going to have loans, right? We all have loans and debt. So one of the things that AmeriCorps Vista will help us with the fellow stipends specifically, so we wouldn't have to worry about that cost, and for health benefits and loan forbearance specifically. So that'll help out a little bit. We're also looking to collaborate with a bunch of different organizations. Definitely.
Great presentation. I'm curious about the commission piece, and I give you an example of a veteran-run business in Fort Worth. Observed the founder of the business, talked to a prospective employee. Says, I only hire veterans, come back in 4 years. Are there sales companies that can support you that way? Right? Like, we only hire graduates who have been through a year of selling to the economy, selling nonprofits, that type of thing. Do you have an exit strategy for people that come into the commission program?
Yeah, so essentially what we hope to do with this program is to train the nonprofit professionals, the future generation, and make sure that they have some kind of experience, something that helps out the nonprofits so that they are more experienced for the working world, something good to put on the resume, but they don't necessarily need to have the money behind it, the experience is already there. We just ask that they bring their skills that they already have, and we'll kind of help put them into shape for the program. For exit strategy, specifically, we are potentially looking at local universities as part of the reason why we're partnering with them. That's potentially a direction that we're going in, is to get this to be the AmeriCorps Vista program permanently, right? So you would have, for example, there's Equal Justice Works in Washington, D.C. specifically. They have an AmeriCorps Vista program that is permanent there, that's state-run, and it's the only program of its kind. So we're kind of looking at that as a model for us for sustainability.
I'm specifically asking for that college student who got a degree in sales, works, then what? There are private companies out there, they're looking at you to generate qualified skills.
So that's part of what we're going to be working on with the program framework. But specifically with the fellows, you go back to the triangle. So part of it might be explained a little bit if I talk about the program a little bit more in depth. Part of the research that we did with startup nonprofit leaders specifically is asking them what they wish they had had when they were starting their nonprofit, currently that they wish they had had. And what we discovered is fund development was the biggest thing that they needed help on. So we've been trying to ask around, see what different skill sets that students could bring to the table that would help us increase their fund development potential. So part of that was narrative building, so getting somebody in marketing, finance, and performance metrics, and maybe business strategy. So we would be making these fellows would be creating a team, essentially, and going in and creating policies and procedures to help the organization with their fund development process. So these are going to be recent graduates, so hopefully they would have some skills that we can give them training for it. Sales specifically. Would love to talk to you about it afterwards, but definitely.
Hey there. So I have an offer and a suggestion and a question. Okay.
Sounds good, all in one.
And I'm a huge fanboy of Kimberly O'Neill, so I come to this all, but I love this work across studio. All right, so the offer is I work at SMU with design and innovation programs, so we'd be happy to talk to you about what it means to potentially build partnerships or collaborations to be recruiting some of the students you're looking for. Also, we teach human-centered design as a master's program, so happy to talk to you about workshop capacity building piece around using design thinking for innovation. That's a helpful tool set for lots of people these days.
We would love that, definitely.
Great. So that's the offer. Suggestion, especially like here, I see you talking about narrative building, and for me, I wish I heard more of you as the prototype, the story of the first fellow in this. Because as I'm imagining, you're really focusing on the role of launching this commission. And in my head, I'm like, this is really interesting. It sounded like it was more embedded in your pitch, that like there's a real interesting story here about you and about how you can represent the promise of this opportunity commission. So that's just that's a thought. And then a question I have is about the phase 1 of this. You talked about piloting this by recruiting 3 fellows, and I was wondering if you could say just a little bit more about, are you imagining 3 fellows being in one organization? And what's the kind of the intentionality or the design of how you will integrate those fellows into an organization, particularly because Pants on Fire, small nonprofits like hustling every day to make this work. This is stuff I've researched in my own dissertation, like the role of intentionally designed internships or kind of work experience along with mentorship. How are you going to make sure that it's truly mutually beneficial and that the fellows don't kind of get caught up in some of the crazy that nonprofits are doing?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So part of that is also going to be in the program framework that we develop with the steering committee, but right now, specifically for the fellows that we're recruiting for the phase 2, the 3 fellows that we're looking at. So we'll be training them on professional leadership and development training for, I'd say, about a month before we put them with an organization. They would be with that organization for a couple of months, about a month and a half, I would say, and then we would go through and test whatever they've done, make sure that it's sustainable, and kind of go on to the next organization, right? So part of this is also going to be, the first organization that we're looking at will be somebody who is with Portfolio, one of our incubator participants. And the second one will be an outside organization. So we're trying to kind of, from phases, we're changing from internal practice, which is me, with this leadership development training, changing it to an external source, which would be other organizations. And then trying to figure out, testing what is working, what is not working for the organizations, and helping them kind of build their projects so that all of their skills are used, all of the needs of the organization are met. Does that answer your question a little bit better? Great.
Hi, I think it's a great presentation, and I really love the idea behind what you're trying to do. I had a question, I guess. I feel like startup kind of means a lot of things to a lot of different people, but I was wondering if you could clarify, in particular to the nonprofit space, like what that term means, and also what type, more specifically, like what type of startups would be your ideal candidate for phase 2?
Yeah, so startup specifically is going to be a operating budget of under $100,000 or under 5 years of age. And I mentioned able to demonstrate a need, right? So we want to make sure that they can talk about their problem in their organization specifically, be able to write it down and explain it to us. So we want to make sure they have enough capacity to do that. We believe that's important in order to help us with this project, to kind of get them to give feedback on what's helpful, what wouldn't be helpful for the fellows project with them. We're not looking for any startup nonprofit in particular. We just want to make sure that they are passionate about what we're trying to do, which is specifically change the way we operate nonprofits. It's more focused on administration and less so necessarily on funding. We understand that, or on program. We understand that program is important and that it's often what starts an organization, but we need to focus on the administration because the end product is going to be more impactful if we start from a strong foundation, right? Thank you.
We have time for one last question.
Appreciate it, guys.
Awesome stuff. We Yeah, we got to cover a lot of ground today. I hope everybody got to learn a lot from both of the presentations this morning. I have a few kind of closing announcements that I want to run through. We already have some people come up that were interested in getting involved with the 1 Million Cups team here and also in Arlington. So if you do want to get involved and volunteer, come up, let us know. On that note, a quick shout out to Devin, who's going to be well, not for our team. Thank you to him for being a volunteer as long as he was, and a lot of you got to know him. So yeah, give it up for Devin real quick. Thank you for that. And, again, with the way that we run, Kaufman Foundation supports us. We ourselves are a nonprofit, and everything happens because of our sponsors and volunteers. So another shout out to driveads.com. They are a local out-of-home media startup, and they basically sell ads on the sides of huge trucks. So if you're interested in buying media locally, definitely check them out. Driveads.com is their website, and we thank them for being our coffee sponsor for this whole month. So thank you to them. As well, we had High Brew Coffee. If you love having them here, Kertu, and all of the other sponsors that I've listed before, the deck, Microbrewer Productions. So that's kind of how we're able to pull this off. And yeah, it's really fun being on the team. If you're interested in joining us, let us know. Yeah, lastly, I think if it was your first time here, just a reminder that we do have this event here every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. at the deck, and it also happens simultaneously in 168 other cities across the U.S., which is pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, so Arlington does have an event on February 2nd. You can look that up. We're going to be posting it on our social media as well, so you get the details there. And I did see someone with a Startup Weekend t-shirt. For Alan. Hey, Alan. So Startup Weekend Fort Worth is coming up. What is it, March 2nd?
March 2nd through the 4th, that's the weekend. That's Texas Independence Day was the 2nd.
Oh, nice.
It's financial independence, right?
Yeah, or we can see it. So yeah, Startup Weekend Fort Worth, we love to support the Startup Weekend events as well. They're a great place for new entrepreneurs to get kind of a hackathon 3-day experience of what it's like to start something new from scratch. And you have really cool t-shirts. So yeah, just wanted to make sure we looked at as well. I'm gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a younger crowd in Tarrant County apparently. We've got a lot of students. So the pitch for them is the early bird price is $49 instead of the regular $99. We're trying to have a half price. And you get 7 meals, so that's a pitch I would give to college.
Can't get a better.
You guys are wearing business suits, might not work so well here. But you get early bird pricing until February 18th. And that's $49.
Yeah, Startup Weekends, can't say enough good things about those. And Isabel, she's our team lead. She's going to come up and say the last word.
Yeah, I just want to give the full announcement. So 1 Million Cups, you guys probably know this already, is in 162 markets. They have an aggressive plan, actually, the Kaufman Foundation, who runs this, to have it in 500 cities across the U.S. by the end of 2018, which is a very aggressive plan. And if you are on the app, you'll notice that there's new cities popping up, like 3 every week. So actually, Arlington is now planning to launch, but they need people to get involved. So if you are interested in being in the Arlington community and attending 1 Million Cups there, you do want to know that on February 2nd, there's an info session to help determine the city's interest in having 1 Million Cups, and then also identifying potential team organizers. So if you would like to attend, it is February 2nd, it's a Friday at 8 a.m. and at 4 p.m. It will be at the Center Space Co-working Center, 609 East Main Street. Okay? Is anybody actually from Arlington in this room right now? Okay, cool. So you might like to. We miss you here if you start moving there, but of course it's all about collaboration. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you again.